Okay, we're going to hold calls until we get this done. We're almost there. Throughout my trial, my preliminary trial, there was 3 witnesses. The dates of this supposed attack I did on the windows changed months. It started from the 4th of July, then the 15th of July. This is all 2013. Then it went back to just before May, blah, blah. At any rate, let's play that segment.
Do you recall when I put in my photographs and my evidence was better than the DA's, so he borrowed mine?
Yeah, Tom was a traitor. He was giving him pictures of the stuff that he didn't even have.
Right, but I mean, I had a method to my madness, so I set him up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Noah, can we play that next one?
Your Honor, at this point, what I'd like to do is make a motion to amend the criminal complaint to reflect a violation date of on, about, or between May 2013
this is because they
and
couldn't
July
get the dates
16th,
right.
2013, based on the evidence we've heard so far.
Testimony of Mr. Pennington as well as his mother. Defense?
My objection, as Judge, is that the state has chosen these dates to be relevant, and these dates, the original date in the complaint to be the date of the occurrence, and therefore we object to them now modifying it.
All right, overruled. You'll amend,
Of course.
you're amending to read on or about early May 2013.
Now, so our viewing audience understands too, is this is a preliminary hearing. There's no jury.
Right.
You're playing to a judge that's not going to be sympathetic. So things are very boring. And I mean, if I was in front of a jury, I would be much more animated. These are, and I just kept telling Chuck the whole time that he was going to get screwed just to get used to it.
And screwed is the word. And Tom can verify this as a officer of the court. My primary accuser went from being a Mexican in his own handwriting to Caucasian. The witness that said she never talked to the police had a statement that she gave to the police.
Yeah, handwritten statement.
She gave her address as a vacant lot next to their residence. There's no home been there since I've lived there, and that's way longer than these people have. And the final witness, which isn't shown, told the police that that she had brought golf balls that I allegedly was breaking windows with and bombarding this house with. She brought them back to me. Here's your golf balls. And then she apologized and all the rest.
But she had them because the kids, or those people were stealing them from you.
Yeah, they had a visitor, a teenager. He wasn't a bad kid. But I'll go in. Well, I won't go into that because I really don't have any. I mean, the neighbors are what they are. They trespass constantly since 2008. They were visited by the police at least 20 times. Last time was last night when 2 patrol cars were over there. I'm not going to judge them.
In addition, though, one of the things that they were doing is they were walking across Chuck's property in a direct line to what is now a the legal marijuana grow, but at the time it was an unofficial marijuana
Well, actually,
grow.
it's not. They did not get the license.
Ah, okay.
So,
but they had the
they
facilities for it.
Oh yeah, they were practicing, as I always say. At any rate, the whole thing was a scam. I mean, and anybody that did any proper investigation, from the first officer that came over to the prosecutor that did the case, twice he said, "I don't know why this is a gross misdemeanor. If it was a misdemeanor, we could plea bargain it." And I said, "What is going on here? The guy that's prosecuting doesn't know why." He said, "I don't know why they made this a gross misdemeanor." Well, the answer is, of course, I went to the hospital because of this, because I got a bad heart. I went to the ER the next day. I had to have an angiogram, a camera up the groin. At any rate, Noah, can you play the final segment? Let's get this over with.
All right, state, any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, state rest.
All right, defense.
Defense rest, Judge.
All right, arguments.
Your Honor, the testimony established that the defendant's windows were broken, apparently by golf balls that were discovered at the scene when the windows were broken. There are golf balls that show up on their property regularly. There's no golf course in the area. The only golf-related activity in the area is their neighbor directly across the street, who has an 8x8 grassy area where he plays golf. Now, the witnesses seem to be rather unsophisticated regarding golf. As to whether it was called a drive or a putt, we kind of had to walk them through that. I believe we referred to it as a putting green. Nevertheless, we did have testimony from at least, I believe, 2 witnesses that there were times that they saw him raise the club head up in the air before hitting it. So regardless of whether it's a putting green or a tee box,
I don't remember that.
if you raise the club up in the head, you can be hitting it off the asphalt. The result is going to be the same. That ball is going to travel. I understand that this is circumstantial, and as much as nobody actually saw the balls come off of Mr. Augustin's
That's what I
club
remember.
head and hit the house, nevertheless, the presence of golf balls at his house, the fact that this last witness testified, she returned Mr. Augustine's golf balls to him. There's never been any suggestion that they weren't his golf balls. In fact, there was evidence through cross-examination that he was claiming that his golf balls were being stolen. As you can see from, I believe it states 1, there are no other residences in proximity. The Google Earth shows that they're basically on a big dirt lot with vacant lots all around, save directly across the street is Mr. Augustine's property. And so based on that, Your Honor, I'm asking the court to find that there's probable cause to believe that he is the one who struck those balls that broke the victim's, Mr. Pennington's, windows, causing approximately $600 worth of damage.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ferguson. All right, Mr. Gibson.
Judge, Mr. Ferguson was very liberal, saying that this is a circumstantial case. Nobody saw my client swing a golf club toward any home, particularly the home at issue. Nobody saw a golf ball hit a house. There was testimony that there was a broken window and there was a golf ball laying nearby, but there's also testimony that there was golf balls all over the place. And then the testimony was varying of where those golf balls actually may have come from, but no one can say, and no one could even say, nobody saw anything happen. So what the state's asking the court to do is take a leap in faith and say, well, gosh, just because Mr. Augustine lives across the street, he must have been the one swinging golf balls that hit the house at issue. But again, there's no testimony at all of any proof, even an inference that anyone with knowledge and intent struck a golf ball towards the home at issue, and also there's no evidence that my client is the one who swung a golf club at a ball, even if they could show that a ball struck the house. So there's 2 things that the state hasn't shown. They haven't shown a cause, and they haven't shown a perpetrator. They all have is a person who lives across the street. So, Judge, based upon that, this case should not be bound over and should be denied at this point.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Ferguson?
No, Your Honor, I'll submit it.
All right.
This is why I say, here comes a screw job.
All right, Mr. Augustin, please stand. All right, based upon the testimony and evidence adduced at this preliminary hearing, it's the court's determination that the state has not sufficiently met its burden of proof that Mr. Augustin, beyond a reasonable doubt, did indeed cause the damage maliciously and intentionally to Mr. Pennington's home. I'm going to go ahead and discharge this matter. Mr. Augustin, I think that you're a golf aficionado. I think that you are like very many people. You've got a golf pad out there. You practice, you chip, you putt, you pull out irons. There's a tremendous amount of property around your house where you can take full swings with a 3-iron and launch a ball going at 80 miles an hour at low elevation and probably hit it 200 yards. If indeed you're practicing around your house, I strongly urge you to take your practice pad and point it somewhere else where there aren't any homes. I don't want to see this coming back here again, Mr. Augustin. All right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Judge.
Are we coming up now?
Yeah.
Okay, now, that was the first, since the judge was on the bench, he'd been on the bench for over a year, I believe. That was the first defense verdict he'd ever done. So what the courtroom, I mean, the personnel were shocked, and the word got around the courthouse because that was the very first, and he only had 3 as far as I know, and that was the first, and people couldn't stop talking about it. But here's what surprises me. I think he believes you. I think, I mean, that's one of the reasons, because he is a golfer and he knows the physics, and that it was unlikely that you did that. But it insults you at the same time by saying, okay, this case is no good because it doesn't take any evidence at all to bind it over from a preliminary hearing to district court. So for him to discharge, that means there's no evidence whatsoever. And yet he had to chastise you or
Yeah.
admonish you not to shoot golf balls, toward the neighbor's house, which, go figure.
Okay, we're going to go to break in a minute. The lines are then going to be open. I apologize for the length. But yeah, and I was screwed. And it cost me financially. It cost me health-wise. I'll never get back any of that. And they don't give a damn.
Well, your lawyer was good to you.
Yeah.